Have you ever loved someone so much that you were willing to give up your future just to keep them alive? Anna was only 26, an art teacher, a quiet soul with calloused hands and one fragile dream: to save her little brother from dying. But what if the only way was to marry a cold billionaire she had never met? No vows, no love, just a contract, and a house buried in snow, where every room whispered someone else's name. If it were you, would you sign your name? Would you give your heart to a man who locked his grief behind piano keys and silence? This is not a fairy tale. It is a story of choice, pain, and the kind of love that asks everything of you and nothing at all. If this story speaks to you, comment 1. If you think we can do better, comment 2. Either way, your voice matters here. Would you marry a stranger if it meant saving the only family you have? Left Anna Whitmore had asked herself that question more times than she could count. At some point, she stopped asking. She just said yes. The snow fell like quiet ash over Montana, light but cold. The black SUV moved slowly along a narrow road lined with pine trees. Its tires left faint tracks behind. No one spoke inside the car. Anna sat in the back seat, hands folded in her lap. Her fingers were wrapped in wool gloves, but they still felt cold. She looked out the window. White hills, bare trees, no houses, no signs of life, only winter, only silence. It had been a long drive, but the real journey started months earlier, in Texas, in a small apartment that always smelled faintly of instant coffee and damp laundry. That was where she lived with her younger brother, Noah. He was 11, bright, curious, too gentle for the world he was born into. He had a heart condition, severe, chronic, the kind that kept doctors speaking in low voices and bills piling up on the kitchen counter. Anna had done everything she could. She taught art during the day, waited tables at night, sold prints online, painted whatever people paid for, even the ones she hated doing, cartoon dogs, watercolor flowers. If it paid for another dose of medicine, she painted it, but the money never lasted. It slipped through like water. Then came the hospital call. Noah's condition had worsened. The doctors used phrases like time-sensitive and critical window. They said surgery. They said soon. They said it might be his only chance. Anna listened. Then she went home and stood by his bed as he slept. She watched his chest rise and fall. She watched the monitor blink slowly. She felt the weight of every dollar she did not have, every hour she had already given, every door that was now closed. And then the letter came, a thick cream envelope, no name on the front, no return address. Inside was a single page, typed, clean. It said this: "We have reviewed your current situation. Mr. Graham Ashford is prepared to assist. In return, he requests your presence in Montana and your agreement to a legal marital contract. No love, no promises, just terms." Anna thought it was a scam. She tossed the envelope on the counter, but then a second letter came. That one included a copy of Noah's full medical file, a paid invoice from the hospital, a contact number, a signature from someone at Ashford Holdings. The surgery had already been scheduled. Anna sat on the floor for over an hour, her back against the dishwasher, her arms wrapped around her knees. She could not cry. She was too tired. She did not know who Graham Ashford was, only that he was a billionaire, that he lived alone in the mountains of Montana, that he did not speak to the press, that he did not believe in love, that he wanted a wife, on paper, for 1 year, no questions asked, and that he was offering a future for Noah. Anna thought of her mother. She had died when Anna was 17. Cancer, quick and cruel. On her last day, she had taken Anna's hand and whispered, "Take care of your brother. Promise me." Anna had promised. She never expected the cost to be this high. She thought for 7 days. She prayed. She looked at Noah's drawings. She ran the numbers again. Then she made the call. 3 days later, a car pulled up outside their building. No one explained anything. The driver simply said, "Miss Whitmore, please." Anna hugged Noah one last time. She said it was for work, that she would be back soon. He had smiled and handed her a drawing. It was of a lake, 2 stick figures, her and him. Standing under a big pine tree. "When I get better, we will go camping, just us." She had smiled. She had said, "Yes, of course. But some promises are not made to be kept. Some are made so the other person can sleep." Now, the house was close. She could see it. Stone walls, tall windows, sharp lines, no lights in the windows, no smoke from a chimney, no welcome. It looked like something that belonged to the past, or to someone who did not want to be remembered. The car came to a stop. The driver got out and opened her door. Anna stepped onto the snow. Her boots sank an inch. The wind pressed against her cheeks. She pulled her coat tighter. Her breath came out in white clouds. She looked up. The doors opened before she reached them. A tall figure stood in the shadows of the entryway. He did not smile. He did not speak. But he was waiting. Anna stepped inside. The warmth hit her first, not from people, from machines. Hidden vents hummed low through the old walls. The air smelled clean, too clean, like no one had lived here for a long time. The floor beneath her boots was stone. Her footsteps echoed softly. To her left, a staircase curled upward. To her right, a hallway stretched long and quiet. No pictures on the walls. No coats hanging by the door. A woman stood nearby, gray hair in a neat bun, dressed in navy, calm face. Straight posture. She gave a small nod. "Welcome, Miss Whitmore. I am Martha. I manage the house. Mr. Ashford is waiting in the drawing room." Anna followed without a word. The hallway was wide and cold. Oil paintings lined the walls. Dark trees, frozen lakes, black birds in flight. They turned a corner, then another. The house felt like a maze. Each room passed was beautiful, but silent. Too perfect. Finally, Martha opened a tall wooden door. Inside stood a man, Graham Ashford. He wore a black suit, no tie. His posture was still, almost motionless. He stood near the fireplace, one hand resting lightly on the stone mantel. He did not move when she entered. He only looked at her, not long, not rude, but direct. Anna froze. He looked exactly how she imagined, and nothing like it. His hair was dark, neatly kept. His eyes were light gray, cold at first glance, but not lifeless, sharp, watchful. He had the kind of face you would remember, but not easily describe. He nodded once. "Miss Whitmore." His voice was calm, steady, not cold, but measured. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Martha stepped forward. "The witness is waiting. If you are ready." Anna blinked, then nodded. They walked into another room, this one smaller. A table, 2 chairs, a single folder placed neatly in the center. The woman already seated stood as they entered. She wore glasses, carried a leather briefcase. Her name was Evelyn. She did not smile, only opened the folder and began to speak. "This contract is valid for 12 months. No early termination. No legal claim to any estate or holdings. Medical costs for Noah Whitmore will be paid in full. Education through college will be covered. At the end of the term, A trust fund will be released in your name. Anna sat down slowly. Her hands rested on her knees. Her coat still buttoned. Graham remained standing. Do you have any questions? Anna looked up. Only one. Why he met her eyes? No pause. Because you are the kind of person who keeps her word. She said nothing, but her throat tightened. Evelyn opened a pen, placed it in front of her. When you are ready. Anna picked it up. She read the first page, then the second. Every word pressed into her chest like a stone. She remembered Noah's smile, his question, "Are we going to be okay?" She had nodded. She had said yes, so now she signed, one page, then another, until it was done. Evelyn stood, collected the papers, nodded. That is all. She left the room. Only Anna and Graham remained. He looked at her again. You may follow Martha. She will show you your room. She hesitated. What about you? He turned away. I live in the West Wing, and you are in the East. You may go anywhere on that side. She waited, but he said nothing else, not even goodbye. She turned and left the room. Martha was waiting in the hall, her hands folded neatly. This way, Miss Whitmore. They walked again through the long hallways. Anna noticed new things now. The rugs, the corners where dust gathered, the smell of wood polish, a faint hum from behind closed doors. They reached a set of tall double doors. Martha opened them. This is your room. Dinner will be at 7. You are not required to attend. Good evening. And she left. Anna stepped inside. The room was large, larger than her entire apartment back in Texas. A fireplace glowed behind glass. A bed with white sheets stood at the center. 2 armchairs faced the windows. A low table between them held a small lamp and a tray with water. One door led to a bathroom, another to a closet. She did not open either. She walked to the dresser. On top lay an envelope. She opened it. Inside was a single silver key and a note. You may lock your door at night if you wish. Anna stared at the note for a long time. Then she placed the key back down. She sat on the edge of the bed, her coat still on, her hands on her lap. She was now married, legally. Completely and entirely alone. The first night was colder than Anna expected. Not outside. Inside. Despite the fire in the room and the thick quilts on the bed, there was a chill that never left the air. She stood near the window. Snow was still falling. The lake below was half frozen. The trees around it looked like old sentinels, quiet, bare, watching. She had not changed clothes. She still wore the coat she arrived in. Her suitcase sat by the chair, unopened. In the corner of the room, the silver key glinted on the nightstand. Anna looked at it again, then walked over and picked it up. She turned it in her hand. It was heavy, cool to the touch. She walked to the door, locked it. The click was soft, but it echoed in her chest. She changed into a cotton nightgown left in the closet. Simple, white, clean, no lace, no warmth. She pulled the blanket over herself and lay still. No one came, no knock, no footsteps, only silence. And then, somewhere deep in the house, she heard it. Music, a piano, just a few notes, soft, wandering, like someone remembering a melody they had once known, but could no longer finish. Anna sat up. She listened. The sound came and went, faint, as if from behind thick walls, or an old dream. She stood, pulled her robe around her, unlocked the door. The hallway was empty. No wind, no voice. Just that music, drifting like smoke through closed doors. She followed it, each step slow, careful. Her bare feet made no sound on the rug. She passed rooms she had not seen before. A library, a sitting room, a hallway with old photographs. She paused at one of the pictures. It showed a young woman holding a child near the edge of the lake. Both were smiling. The photo was black and white, but someone had drawn a soft blue around the woman's scarf. She looked familiar. Anna stepped closer. The frame was dusty. The glass cracked slightly in the corner. Then she noticed something. A small tear. A mark. The photo had once been larger. Someone had cut part of it away. She stared at the edges. The missing piece had been torn, not trimmed, as if done in a hurry. She looked around the hall. No music now, just her breath. She turned and continued walking. At the end of the corridor, a door stood slightly open. Inside was a large room. A grand piano sat near a tall window. The lid was half lifted, the bench empty. The fire in the hearth was long dead. Cold ash lay in the tray. Dust covered the keys, but one was clean. Just one. Anna stepped closer. She reached out, pressed a single key. The sound was soft, hollow, but it worked. She sat down. Her fingers rested lightly on the keys. She had not played since college. Not seriously, just enough to feel what silence could not hold. She played 3 notes, then a 4th. It was nothing special. Just a rhythm her body remembered before her mind caught up. Then she stopped and listened. No response, no footsteps, no voices, but she felt it. Something. As if the house had paused to hear her. Anna stood slowly. She left the piano uncovered. Back in her room, she found the key still on the nightstand. She locked the door again, then turned off the light. In the dark, the image of the torn photograph stayed in her mind. She wondered who had played the piano first, who had listened, and who had torn the picture. Sleep did not come easily. The next morning, Anna woke before dawn. She dressed in layers, a thick sweater, wool socks. The cold was sharper than before, as if the house had sunk deeper into its bones. On the dresser was a tray, breakfast, tea, a folded note, Mr. Ashford will be in meetings today. You may use the east wing freely. She took a sip of tea, then opened her journal. She wrote, "The silence here is not empty. It listens. It remembers. But it does not tell." Later that afternoon, she walked the halls again. The piano room was quiet, the lid still open. She passed another photo. A child on a sled, laughter frozen in time. Someone had written a name on the bottom corner. Elise. Anna touched the frame lightly. That evening, she went to dinner. Only one place was set at the long table. No Graham, no conversation. Just a tray, silverware, a single candle. She ate slowly. Halfway through the meal, Martha entered. She walked to the end of the table. Her steps quiet, her hands behind her back. "Miss Whitmore, if I may." Anna looked up. "Yes, there are rooms you may not enter. If you come across a door that is locked, please leave it be." Anna held her gaze. Why some parts of the house belong to the past? Martha waited, then added, "And the past is not always safe to disturb." Anna nodded. "I understand." Martha gave a small nod. Then she turned and left the room. Anna sat in silence. She remembered the music, the torn photo, the name written in small letters. Elise. She whispered it once, then stood and walked back to her room. That night, she did not lock the door, but she did not sleep either. The next few days passed like clouds, soft, slow, almost shapeless. Anna kept to the east wing. She read in the library, walked the narrow garden path when the snow let up, drank tea from the tray Martha left each morning. She rarely saw anyone. Sometimes Martha passed her in the hallway with a polite nod, but never a word beyond what was needed. And Graham, he did not appear, not at breakfast, not at dinner, not once, but at night. The music returned, always faint, always after midnight, never complete. It was not played for show. It was too broken for that. A note, a pause, a chord that never resolved. Anna listened. She began to hear more than just notes. She heard sadness, regret, something heavy and unfinished. One night, she followed it again. Back to the piano room, she stood in the dark. The moonlight touched the lid. But no one was there. The keys were cold. She ran her fingers along them. Just once. Then she walked away. But this time, she did not go back to her room. She turned toward the west wing, the part of the house she was told to avoid. The hallway was darker here. The wallpaper, older. The frames on the walls more faded. She passed a small table. On it, a ceramic bowl with dried lavender. Dust covered the petals. Then she saw the door. Not locked. Just closed. She paused. Her hand touched the knob, but something stopped her. She turned around. Martha was standing at the end of the hall. No words, no expression. Just watching. Anna stepped back. I am sorry. I was only looking for... Martha shook her head gently. No need to explain. Anna nodded, then returned to her wing. The next day, a snowstorm came, thick, relentless. The windows turned white. The power flickered once, then held. Anna stood by the fire. She felt the silence more now. It was not just quiet. It was a presence. She opened the book she had taken from the library. Pressed inside was a note, old, handwritten. It said only this. Elise always played on snow nights. Said the house sounded different then. No name, no date, just a truth, waiting. Anna read it 3 times. That night, she waited again. She did not go to the piano room. She stayed in her chair, near the fire. She closed her eyes, and she listened. The music came, soft, and this time, she heard something new, breath, a pause, a deep inhale, before a note. Someone was truly there. The next morning, she made a choice. She knocked on Martha's door. The older woman answered, calm, as always. Miss Whitmore, I need to ask you something. About Elise. Martha stepped aside. Come in. The room was simple. A bed, a chair, a table with sewing supplies. Anna sat across from her. Who was she? Martha folded her hands. Elise was someone who brought music back to this place. For a time. She was a pianist. Yes, she taught. She played, she laughed, and she loved. Anna waited. Did she live here? Martha nodded. For 5 years. Anna felt her chest tighten. Was she Graham's wife? No, but she was loved like one. Anna looked down at her hands. What happened? Martha hesitated. There was an accident. Winter. Lake was frozen. They went walking. Just the 2 of them. Graham and her. Yes. Ice cracked. She fell through, and she was gone before he could pull her out. Anna closed her eyes. She could hear the sound, the crack, the scream, the silence that followed. She was carrying their child. Anna froze. What she was expecting, not many knew. Graham never spoke of it again. Anna felt the room spin. Martha's voice stayed calm. He stopped playing. He stopped speaking. He closed this wing, and the house forgot how to breathe. Anna stood. Thank you. Martha nodded. Miss Whitmore? Yes, be kind to him. He lives with more silence than most can bear. That night, Anna sat by the piano. She played a single song, simple, slow, the one she used to hum to Noah when he could not sleep. When she finished, she stood, she turned to leave, and in the doorway, Graham stood, not close, not far. Their eyes met. Neither spoke. But she knew. He had heard, and for the first time since she arrived, she did not feel like a stranger. Anna spent most of the next day in the library. The storm had passed, but the wind still howled low outside the windows. Trees bent and groaned in the cold. She sat by the fire, a book on her lap. But she did not read. Her mind was somewhere else, with the woman in the torn photograph, with the child who had never been born, with the man who played broken music into the night, and with the girl she used to be, in a hot apartment in Texas, holding her brother's hand, watching monitors blink, pretending not to be afraid. Anna closed the book. She stood, walked to the far corner of the room. There was a small chest tucked between two shelves, covered in dust. She pulled it out. It creaked when she opened it. Inside were sheet music folders, handwritten notes, a photo album with yellowed corners. She sat on the rug. She turned the pages slowly. One photo showed Elise laughing, sitting on the porch steps, her hands stained with paint, a smudge on her cheek, a canvas behind her, half finished, bright colors. Another photo, Graham beside her, looking not quite at the camera, but at her. Anna stared at his face. You could not fake that kind of gaze. You did not look at someone like that if you did not love them. She felt something stir in her chest. Not jealousy. Grief. For what was lost. For what might never come back. She closed the album, and for the first time since she arrived, she cried. Later that afternoon, Anna found herself in the greenhouse. It stood behind the east wing, mostly glass. The plants inside were wild and overgrown. Vines curled around old shelves. Dry leaves littered the floor. She opened a window. Cold air rushed in, sharp and biting. She liked it that way, clean, honest. She picked up a dead pot and started removing weeds. She worked for an hour, hands dirty, fingertips red. She did not know why. Maybe because it was something real, something she could fix, even if only for a moment. That night, she could not sleep. She got up, wrapped herself in a wool shawl, walked down the stairs barefoot. The piano room was dark, but she did not go there. She walked past it, through the long hallway, to the west wing, the same hallway where Martha had found her days ago. But this time, no one stopped her. She walked slower. She touched the walls, the frames, the table with the lavender bowl. She reached the door again, the one that was not locked. She opened it. The room was dim. A fire burned low. There was a chair near the window, and in it sat Graham. He did not move. He did not speak, but he saw her. She stepped inside. She did not ask if she could. She just sat down across from him. For a long time, they sat in silence. Then Anna spoke. Tell me what you miss most. Graham looked at the fire. She did not wait for a full story, just waited. After a moment, he said, her hands, the way she moved them when she talked, always painting in the air. Anna nodded. Mine is my brother's laugh, when he thinks I am not watching. Graham turned his eyes to her. You are doing all this for him. She nodded. I would do it again, even if it meant giving up everything, even yourself. That part I am not sure of. Graham was quiet. Then he said, I once thought silence could protect me, that if I stopped speaking, stopped playing, stopped remembering, it would stop hurting. Did it? No. She waited, then said, I do not want to be here just because of a contract, but I cannot leave him. Not yet. I understand. They sat in silence again. The fire crackled softly. Graham leaned back. You know, she was not perfect. Elise. She broke things when she was angry. She burned food. She forgot names. But when she laughed, the whole room leaned closer. Anna smiled. That sounds like someone worth loving. She was. The room grew quiet again. Outside, snow began to fall once more. Light, silent, endless. Anna returned to her room. She sat on the edge of her bed. She looked at the envelope with the silver key. She opened the drawer. Inside was Noah's drawing. The lake, the two stick figures, the big pine tree. She placed it next to her pillow and whispered, Hold on, little one. I am coming back for you. She lay down, and this time she slept. The morning started like any other. Anna woke early. The sky outside her window was pale gray. The snow had stopped. Everything looked frozen in place. Still, beautiful, cold. She stretched her arms, reached for the drawing Noah had made, ran her fingers over the crayon lines. Then came the knock. Soft, 2 times. She opened the door. Martha stood there, her eyes calm, but there was something under the surface. A call came for you. It is urgent. Anna's chest tightened. Is it about my brother, Martha? Gave a short nod. Yes. The hospital in Austin. Anna did not wait. She pulled on her coat, followed Martha down the hall, into the study where the house phone waited. The receiver sat quietly on its hook. The cord curled like a sleeping snake. Martha handed it to her. They are on hold. Anna took it with both hands. Hello? A woman's voice answered, soft, professional. Miss Whitmore. Yes. This is she. Your brother Noah was admitted last night. He experienced complications. We stabilized him, but there are some concerns. Anna gripped the table edge. What happened? His heart rate dropped. There was fluid buildup. We believe it is time to prepare for surgery. The original timeline has moved forward. She could not speak. The voice continued. The operation can happen within 72 hours, but we will need a family member to be present. He is asking for you. Anna swallowed hard. I will be there. She hung up, turned around. Graham stood in the doorway. Not close, not far. She met his eyes. No words were needed. He nodded once. I will have the plane ready in 1 hour. Anna packed quickly. Her hands shook. She folded her coat, tucked the drawing into a book, tied her boots too tight. By the time she reached the driveway, the jet was already waiting. The driver opened the car door. Inside, Graham was seated. You are coming. Yes. You do not have to. I know. Anna looked at him. Why are you doing this? He looked out the window. Because it matters to you. The jet lifted off, smooth, silent. Anna stared out the window. The clouds looked heavy, like they could fall any second. Graham sat beside her, but he said nothing. She turned to him. What were you doing when the call came? He blinked. Reading? That surprises me. Why I did not think you read anymore. I do not, but I wanted to remember how it felt. She nodded, then said quietly, I am scared. He turned to face her. Me too. At the hospital, everything moved fast. Bright lights, voices, machines that beeped too fast, too loud. Anna rushed through the doors. A nurse met her, took her to Noah's room. He looked pale, thin, But when he saw her, he smiled. You came, always. She hugged him gently, held his hand. Beside her, Graham stood quietly. Noah looked up at him. Are you the rich guy? Graham nodded once. I guess I am. Cool. Anna smiled for the first time that day. The doctor entered, white coat, tired eyes. Miss Whitmore, we are ready to proceed, but we want to be honest. Anna stood. Tell me, it is a high-risk procedure. There are complications. You need to prepare for all outcomes. She closed her eyes, then opened them. Do what you must. They took Noah away. The hallway felt colder than Montana ever did. Anna sat on a bench. Her hands trembled. She looked at Graham. I do not want to lose him. He nodded. I know. She looked down. If I do, I will have no one. That is not true. She looked up. He met her eyes. I am still here. Hours passed. Anna did not move. She stared at the floor, the clock, her hands. Then the door opened. The doctor walked in. It is done, and he is stable. The surgery went better than expected. She stood up. Her knees nearly gave out. Thank you. The doctor gave a tired smile. He is asking for you. Anna stepped into the recovery room. Noah's eyes were half open. Hey, she smiled. Hey yourself, he whispered. He told me. Told you what? That you married him. To save me. Anna froze. Noah looked at her. I heard him talking to the nurse. He said you gave everything for me. Anna sat beside him. You are my everything. Noah blinked. I want you to be happy too. I will be. He smiled. Then sleep took him. Outside, Anna stood by the window. Graham joined her. You told him? Yes. Why? Because he deserved to know the truth. Anna looked down. And what happens now? He was quiet. Then said, whatever you choose, you are free. Anna, you always were. Anna returned to Montana 5 days later. The snow had softened. The wind no longer howled. The sky was pale blue, the kind that only winter skies could hold. Graham was quiet during the drive home. So was she, not uncomfortable, not distant, just full. Both carried something they had not before. Anna looked out the window. The trees were still bare, but they no longer looked lifeless. They looked patient. The house stood the same, tall, still, cold stone and sharp shadows. But as Anna stepped through the front door, something felt different. It no longer felt like a museum. It felt like a home waiting to breathe again. Martha met them in the entryway. Her hands were folded, her face unreadable. Welcome back, Miss Whitmore. Anna nodded. Thank you. Martha turned to Graham. I had the piano tuned, per your request. He nodded once. Anna glanced at him. He said nothing more, but that small detail meant everything. That evening, Anna walked the halls alone. No destination, just steps, just breath. She stopped in the greenhouse. The plants had not changed, still wild, still half dying, but they no longer felt abandoned. She picked up the small watering can. She fed them slowly, one by one. Later that night, she stood outside the piano room. The lid was open, the bench empty. She stepped inside, sat down, played a single chord. The sound rang clean and soft. She closed her eyes. Her fingers moved, not fast, not loud, just enough to say, I am still here. When she finished, she stood and found Graham standing behind her. He was barefoot, holding a cup of tea. He handed it to her. Chamomile. She took it with both hands. Thank you. They stood for a while. Then she spoke. Noah is doing better. The doctors say he should be able to walk around in a few weeks. Graham nodded. He is strong. Like you, Anna smiled. You know, this house is different now. How so? It does not feel like it is hiding anymore. He looked around. Maybe it was waiting. For what? For someone to stay. The next morning, Anna woke before the sun. She walked to the east window. Outside, the lake was beginning to thaw. Not fully, but enough to shimmer under the light. She made tea, sat by the fire, opened her journal. She wrote slowly. This house is learning to breathe again. So am I. Martha knocked around 9. Breakfast is ready. Miss Whitmore. Anna followed her to the dining room. 2 places were set. Graham sat at the head of the table. He looked up. Sit with me. She nodded. They ate in silence, but it was not cold. It was quiet the way trust is quiet. He spoke first. You could leave. You know. Anna looked up. I know. You have fulfilled the terms. The contract. Your brother is recovering. You have your own life waiting. She stirred her tea. Maybe. You do not owe me anything. I know that too. He leaned back. Then why are you still here? She took a breath. Because the girl who came here was scared, tired, worn thin, and the woman sitting here now, still all those things, but not alone anymore. Later that day, they walked the garden path together. The snow crunched under their feet. The trees above swayed gently. Anna looked around. It is not just the house that is breathing. He smiled, barely. She stopped walking. Graham, yes. What happens after spring? He looked at her. Whatever you want to happen. She reached for his hand, held it, lightly. I do not know yet. That is all right. They stood there, not deciding, not rushing, just holding space for something new. The wind picked up again that night. Not harsh, just enough to make the windows hum, just enough to whisper that something was coming. Anna sat by the fire in her room, reading an old poetry book she had found in the library. The pages were soft from time, some lines underlined in pencil. She turned another page. A slip of paper fell out. She picked it up. It was not a poem. It was a letter, handwritten, folded once, no envelope. The handwriting was firm, clean, familiar. It was signed, Graham. Anna's breath caught. She looked around, as if someone might suddenly appear, but the room was empty. She unfolded the paper and read, Elise, I do not know if this letter will ever reach you. I am writing it only because the words will not let me sleep. There are things I should have said, things I tried to hide, even from myself. That night, it was not just the ice. It was me. I should have listened. I should have waited. But I wanted to prove something. I wanted to show you I could still lead, still be strong. And because of that, you are gone. I live in a house full of echoes. They sound like you. They accuse like you. They forgive less than you ever did. I told no one, not even your sister. I sent her away. I buried the piano. I buried you. And now I cannot tell what is memory and what is guilt. If there is any part of you that still listens, I am sorry. I would give anything to take it back. I would give anything to tell the truth. Anna folded the letter slowly. Her hands shook, not because of Elise, because of what it meant, because Graham had written this and never sent it, because he had kept it, hidden in the pages of a book he claimed he never read, because it was not just guilt, it was confession, and that confession had not included her. She walked down the hall, fast, barefoot, the floor cold under her soles. The door to the west wing was open. She found Graham in the library, alone, a fire barely lit, shadows dancing across the walls. He looked up when she entered. Anna. She held up the paper. He stood slowly, Where did you find that? In a book. You said you did not read anymore. I do not. Then why was this there? He did not answer. She stepped closer. You wrote this for her? For Elise, yes. And you said nothing to me. All this time, what should I have said? The truth. Graham ran a hand through his hair. I wrote that years ago, and yet you kept it. Yes, because it was real, and you did not want to forget, because I was afraid to remember. Anna swallowed. You told me silence was your shield, but now it feels more like your weapon. That is not fair. Is it not? She held up the letter. You told her everything, but me, I had to dig it out of a book, like a secret buried on purpose. Graham stepped forward. Anna. No. Her voice cracked. I gave everything. I trusted you. Not just with my time. Not just with Noah. With me. And you never let me in. He reached out. She stepped back. Do not. His hand dropped. Anna turned. Left the room. She did not go back to her room. She walked to the piano. Sat down. Played. Not soft. Not slow. Angry. The keys felt sharp under her hands. The sound filled the room like a storm. No melody, no grace, only noise. When she stopped, she rested her hands in her lap. She stared at the wall. Tears fell. That night, she packed a small bag. Only what she needed, nothing more. She left the key on the pillow. She did not leave a note. At sunrise, she stood at the gate. A driver waited. Martha stood beside her. You are leaving. For now. Will you come back? Anna looked at the trees. I do not know. Martha nodded. He will not stop you. I know. But he will wait. Anna did not answer. She stepped into the car. The door closed. The engine started. The gates opened. And the house behind her stayed quiet. Not cold, just waiting. The town of Helena was quiet in March. Snow still clung to the edges of roofs. But the air had softened. Birds began to return. And with them, a strange kind of hope. Anna rented a small room above a bookstore. The woman who owned the place, Clara, was kind, but not curious. She handed Anna the keys, gave her a tour, and said, You stay as long as you need. No one here is in a hurry. Anna liked that. She unpacked only a few things. A sweater, her journal, Noah's drawing. Every morning, she made coffee in a chipped mug. Walked 2 blocks to the hospital, where she volunteered in the children's art program. It helped. The paint, the laughter, the smell of glue and paper. It reminded her that healing does not always roar. Sometimes, it sits quietly beside you, waiting. At night, she wrote letters to Graham. She never mailed them, but she wrote anyway. March 14th, I saw a girl today. She had your eyes, gray like winter skies. She was painting a dog with 3 legs. Said it could still run faster than anyone else. I think you would have liked her. March 21st. I still play sometimes. Not often. Just enough. The piano here is old. Keys stick, notes ring uneven, but it listens. That is all I ask. March 28th. I have not cried in a week. That feels like progress. Or maybe just pause. Either way, I am breathing. I hope you are too. Back at the estate, Graham read the paper every morning, but remembered nothing it said. He walked the same garden path each day, stopped by the piano room each night. He did not play, but he left the lid open, just in case. He also wrote letters to Anna. He placed them in a drawer by the fireplace, folded, unsent. March 15th. There are moments I forget the sound of your voice. Then I find it again in the air, soft, steady, not demanding, but present. You always knew how to make silence feel safe. March 22nd. Martha planted lilies in the greenhouse. Says they will bloom in April. I almost asked her why she chose white. Then I remembered you love things that look like snow, but smell like life. March 30th. If you never come back, I will understand. But I want you to know something. I kept that letter because I could not forgive myself. You made me believe maybe I still could. In April. Noah called. His voice was stronger. Are you okay? He asked. I think I am, Anna said. You sound better. She smiled. You do too. That same week, Clara handed Anna a package. No return address. Inside was a book, collected poems of Jane Kenyon. Inside the front cover, a single note, page 72. Anna opened it. There, underlined in soft pencil, let life be enough, even when it does not feel like victory. She closed the book, held it to her chest. That night, she walked to the edge of town, a bench near the river. The water moved slow and wide. She sat, closed her eyes, and whispered, I am ready. The next morning, she wrote one last letter. April 8th. Dear Graham, I never asked you to be perfect. I only asked you to be real. And you were, in your silence, in your sadness, in your trying. I left because I needed to find my shape again. Not the girl who arrived on your doorstep with nothing but a suitcase and too many scars, but the woman who can choose love freely. If you still leave the door open, I may walk through it, not because I have to, but because I want to. Anna. She folded the letter. This time, she mailed it. It was April 17th when the letter reached the estate. Martha found it on the front porch, just after breakfast. No name, just a clean envelope, pale blue, the handwriting small, deliberate. She placed it on the edge of the piano, said nothing. Graham found it that evening. He stared at it for a long time, then opened it with both hands. His fingers shook slightly. He read the words slowly, twice. He did not cry, but something inside him softened. The next morning, he stood by the lake. The ice was gone. The water rippled gently under a quiet breeze. Behind him, the house stood silent, still. But no longer hollow. He turned, walked back inside. He entered the piano room, sat down, and played. Not the broken chords of before, something simple, steady, a song someone might recognize. Anna arrived 2 days later. No one greeted her. She did not need it. She knew her way. She walked past the trees, up the steps. The front door was unlocked. Inside, the light had changed, not brighter, just softer, like the house had taken a deep breath. She placed her bag by the stairs, removed her coat, walked toward the piano. The notes stopped before she entered. Graham stood when he saw her. Neither spoke at first. Then she said, You played. He nodded. I needed to remember how. She stepped closer, and it felt like starting over. She looked down at the keys. That is not a bad place to begin. He watched her. Are you here to stay? Anna smiled. No, not yet. He swallowed. But she walked to the window, looked out at the lake. I am not here out of obligation anymore. I am here because I chose to be. She turned, and that makes all the difference. Graham stepped forward. Then we start again. No contracts, no conditions, only choice. Anna nodded. Only choice. That afternoon, they planted lilies together in the greenhouse. Martha watched from the doorway. Graham knelt in the soil. Anna held a watering can. Their hands touched once, not by accident. They said nothing, because not everything needs words. That night, Anna lit a candle by the window. She placed Noah's drawing beside it, then opened her journal. She wrote, "There is no perfect love, only honest ones, and the ones we choose, again and again." She closed the book, walked down to the lake. The water reflected stars. She stood at the edge, felt the breeze, then whispered, "I am home, not because I had to be, but because I wanted to be." Behind her, the door creaked open. Graham stood there. He did not speak. He simply held out his hand. Anna took it. Together. They walked back to the house, slow, steady, and breathing. CNNBNN, Fat High NLI, Dong BLI La, is a quiet kind of courage for those of us who have lived through loss, who carry old regrets and silent memories. Let this be your gentle reminder. You are allowed to begin again, not because you forget the past, but because your heart still knows how to hope. Trong O, Cho Leg, Sh Ngang Dai Kong, Fu HPVI TTS, CM Love again N U C Dung ON. Tir Ki O. Life does not always give us easy choices. Sometimes we must let go of our plans to care for someone we love. Anna gave up everything, her freedom, her dreams, even her name, all to save her younger brother. But in the silence of an old house and the company of a man lost in grief, she learned something deeper. Love is not always loud, it is not always perfect, but when it is honest and chosen freely, it has the power to heal. This story reminds us that healing takes time, that grief does not follow a straight line, and that choosing love, again and again, is a quiet kind of courage. For those of us who have lived through loss, who carry old regrets and silent memories, let this be your gentle reminder. You are allowed to begin again, not because you forget the past, but because your heart still knows how to hope. Thank you for spending your time with this story. If it touched your heart, even just a little, please like this video, share it with someone who may need it, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss the next story. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter. From our hearts to yours, thank you.